Woman after paying for a coffee for an elderly man, the Starbucks manager fired her. But 4 hours later, everyone didn't believe what they saw. Before starting the video, let me know where you are watching from and what time it is. After paying for a coffee for an elderly man, the Starbucks manager fired her. But just 4 hours later, something happened that left everyone speechless. Emily Taylor stood behind the counter, the comforting aroma of roasted coffee beans mingling with the hum of customer chatter. Her Starbucks uniform was neat, but her eyes carried shadows of sleepless nights. Life as a single mother to a bright, 8-year-old daughter wasn't easy. Add to that the medical bills for her ailing father, and it became a delicate balancing act. Yet Emily greeted every customer with a warm smile, the kind that made strangers feel like friends. But today, her smile was more strained than usual. Rent was due, her daughter's school needed payment for a field trip, and she hadn't had a proper meal in days. The world didn't know her struggles, just the kindness she showed them. As the door chimed, Emily instinctively glanced up. An elderly man shuffled in, his frame slight and shoulders stooped. His expression was a mix of weariness and hesitation, like someone used to asking for help. Something about him tugged at Emily's heart. Little did she know, this brief interaction would change everything. The elderly man lingered near the counter, nervously patting his coat pockets. Emily's smile softened as she approached him. "Good afternoon, sir. What can I get for you today?" she asked gently. The man looked up, his eyes clouded with embarrassment. "I'd like a small coffee, but I'm not sure I have enough money." Emily glanced at his trembling hands, noting the worn edges of his wallet. Compassion flooded her chest. Without hesitation, she replied, "It's on me. Enjoy your coffee." His face lit up with a mix of gratitude and surprise. "Thank you, miss. You've made my day." Emily handed him the warm cup, her own heart lighter. She watched as he settled into a corner table, savoring the simple gift. For a brief moment, the weight of her own struggles seemed to lift. Unbeknownst to Emily, her coworker, Megan, had been watching from a distance. Megan often resented Emily's popularity with customers, perceiving her kindness as a calculated ploy. Moments later, the manager stormed out of the back office. His stern expression silenced the hum of the cafe. "Emily," he barked, "a customer just informed me you gave away a coffee for free. That's against company policy." Emily's cheeks flushed. "I'm sorry, but he couldn't afford it, and I thought—" "You thought wrong," he cut her off sharply. "You're here to follow rules, not make them. This is your last shift. Pack your things." The cafe fell silent as customers exchanged bewildered looks. Emily's heart sank. Fired for kindness? She left the store, holding back tears, her mind racing with worry about how she would support her family now. Emily clutched her apron as she stepped into the cold afternoon air, her breath shaky. The shame of being fired in front of customers gnawed at her. How would she explain this to her daughter? How would she pay the rent this month? As she trudged down the sidewalk, doubts swirled in her mind. Maybe she'd been foolish. Maybe kindness wasn't worth the cost. But then she thought of the elderly man's smile and the simple joy her small act had brought him. No, she told herself firmly. Kindness is never wrong. Inside the Starbucks, however, not everyone felt the same. One customer, a young woman sitting near the counter, had witnessed the entire exchange. Outraged by the manager's behavior, she pulled out her phone and typed furiously. The young woman uploaded a short clip of the manager firing Emily, captioned, "Starbucks manager fires kind employee for buying coffee for an elderly man. Corporate greed at its worst." Within minutes, the video began circulating on social media. The hashtag Justice for Emily started trending. Thousands of comments poured in. "Unbelievable. We need more Emilys in the world. Kindness should never be punished. Starbucks do better. Where can I find this woman? I want to support her." As the clip gained traction, news outlets began picking up the story. The world was rallying behind Emily, even as she sat at home, unaware of the storm brewing in her defense. For hours after Emily's abrupt firing, her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it, thinking it was another bill collector. But the number was unfamiliar. Hesitant, she answered. "Hello, is this Emily Taylor?" A man's calm yet professional voice asked. "Yes, this is Emily," she replied cautiously. "My name is David Lawson, the regional director for Starbucks," the voice said. "I've seen the video that's circulating online. Can you come to our downtown office? I'd like to discuss this matter personally." Emily's pulse quickened. Why would a regional director want to meet her? Still, she agreed, her curiosity outweighing her apprehension. When Emily arrived at the sleek, glass-walled Starbucks headquarters, she was greeted by David himself, a well-dressed man in his early 50s. He offered a warm smile and gestured for her to follow him into a conference room. Once they were seated, David leaned forward, his expression sincere. "First, let me apologize for how you were treated. That manager's actions were unacceptable, and he has been removed from his position." Emily blinked, stunned. "Removed, is?" "Yes. And there's something else I'd like you to know," he continued. "The elderly man you helped today is my father. He's been struggling since my mother passed last year. What you did for him, you didn't just buy him coffee. You gave him kindness when he needed it most." Emily gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. David smiled. "I want to offer you not only your job back, but a promotion to shift supervisor. People like you should be leading by example." Tears welled in Emily's eyes as relief and gratitude washed over her. "Thank you. I don't even know what to say." David extended his hand. "Say you'll join us in building a culture of kindness. We need more Emilys in this company." The next day, Emily walked back into the Starbucks where she'd been fired, but this time as the newly promoted shift supervisor. The news of her reinstatement and the viral video had spread through the store like wildfire. Her coworkers, some genuinely happy and others visibly surprised, greeted her with mixed reactions. Megan, the one who reported Emily to the manager, stood in the corner, avoiding eye contact. Emily took a deep breath, determined to move forward. She wanted to use her position to create a better work environment, one that celebrated kindness rather than punished it. "Good morning, everyone," Emily said with a smile. "I'm excited to be back, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you to make this store the best it can be, for both our customers and our team." Emily wasted no time implementing small but impactful changes. She introduced a system to recognize employee contributions, celebrating even the smallest wins. She also started weekly team huddles to address concerns and brainstorm ideas for improving customer experiences. She even organized a Customer Appreciation Day, where patrons were surprised with complimentary coffee and handwritten thank you notes. Though many of her coworkers appreciated the positive shift, Emily could sense lingering resentment from Megan and a few others. Still, she pressed on, determined to lead with kindness, just as she had always lived her life. As the weeks went by, most employees adjusted to Emily's leadership, but Megan's bitterness festered. She began spreading rumors that Emily's promotion wasn't earned but handed to her because of the viral video. "She's just lucky," Megan whispered to a group of coworkers during a break. "If it weren't for that video, she'd still be jobless." Emily overheard snippets of the conversation and felt her heart sink. The same kindness that had led to her promotion now seemed to spark jealousy and division. That evening, she stayed late after closing, sitting alone at a corner table. "What am I doing wrong?" she wondered. The next day, Emily addressed the entire team during their morning meeting. Her voice trembled slightly, but carried determination. "I've heard some concerns about my promotion," she began, meeting their eyes one by one. "I understand why some of you might feel it's unfair. But I want you to know that I'm here to earn your respect, not just as a leader, but as your teammate." She took a deep breath. "We all have challenges, and I've had my share. But this isn't about me, it's about us. Together, we can create an environment where kindness, hard work, and teamwork thrive. If anyone has concerns or ideas, my door is always open." The room was silent for a moment, and then one employee clapped. Others quickly joined in. Megan stood at the back, her expression unreadable, but Emily noticed her arms relax slightly. For the first time, Emily felt like she was truly leading, not just managing. Under Emily's leadership, the Starbucks store began to thrive. Customers noticed the difference almost immediately. The staff seemed happier, more engaged, and more willing to go the extra mile. Regulars who had once come in for coffee now stayed longer, chatting with employees or striking up conversations with other patrons. Emily's initiatives, like recognizing team members for their efforts and organizing customer appreciation events, started to pay off. Employee turnover decreased, and customer satisfaction scores skyrocketed. Even Megan, though initially resistant, began to soften. Emily made it a point to praise her publicly during a team meeting for her efficiency during a particularly busy morning rush. "Thank you, Megan, for stepping up today. I noticed and I appreciate it," Emily had said, smiling. Megan's surprised expression melted into a small smile. From that moment, the tension between them began to ease. The video of Emily's initial firing continued to circulate online, attracting the attention of major news outlets. Interviews with Emily highlighted her integrity and kindness, painting her as a role model for leadership. David Lawson, the regional director, announced a new company-wide initiative inspired by Emily called Starbucks Cares. The program focused on fostering a culture of kindness within stores, encouraging employees to engage with their communities and recognize the importance of small, meaningful acts. Emily was asked to help design the program, and her input led to practical policies, such as kindness credits, where employees could cover small costs for customers in need, no questions asked. Emily couldn't believe how much her life had changed in just a few weeks. 1 year later, Emily stood in the middle of her bustling Starbucks store, watching the morning rush unfold. The space buzzed with energy as employees greeted customers warmly, the scent of fresh coffee filling the air. The store had transformed into a hub of positivity, known for its welcoming atmosphere and a staff that genuinely cared about their patrons. Emily, now the store manager, couldn't help but feel a swell of pride as she observed the environment she had worked so hard to cultivate. The elderly man whose coffee had sparked the life-changing events walked through the door, his familiar smile lighting up the room. Emily rushed over to greet him. "Good morning, Mr. Lawson. Your usuals?" He chuckled and nodded. "You didn't just change my day that morning, Emily, you changed my life. This place feels like home now." As the elderly man settled into his favorite seat, Emily leaned against the counter, reflecting on the past year. Her struggles, the humiliation of being fired, and the whirlwind of events that followed had all led her here. She thought about her daughter and father, both thriving now thanks to the stability her new role provided. And she thought about the countless lives that had been touched by the ripple effects of her one small act of kindness. A voiceover began, summing up her journey. "In the end, kindness isn't just about what you give, it's about the lives you touch. And sometimes, one coffee can change the world." As the voiceover faded, the screen showed Emily serving customer with her signature warm smile, the camera pulling back to reveal a store full of life, laughter, and love.